The words beautiful Irene Garza spoke at confession would be some of her last. Days later, she was found murdered in a nearby canal. Her killer was never caught. But Irene's family believed the man who heard her final words, Father John Fite, was no apostle, but the devil responsible.
My family was very upset, and we began our quest for justice for Irene.
Other than the slide projector, there was no physical evidence tying Fite to Irene's murder. The lone shoe print found at the scene was never linked to him. So Father Fite went on with his life, spending time at different parishes, then retiring from the priesthood altogether.
The Irene Garza investigation itself just diminished with the passage of time.
Then 42 years after Irene Garza's death, divine intervention. Former monk Dale Tashney was desperate to make a confession of his own.
There was another priest who had been keeping a deep, dark secret since 1963. And for whatever reason, he decided that it was time to reveal his secret.
40 years before, Dale Tashney and John Fite spent time together at a monastery in Missouri. Allegedly, Tashney had been asked by a superior to counsel a new priest coming to the monastery who had murdered a young woman. That priest was Father John Fite. In the 6 months of counseling sessions, Fite allegedly confessed to Tashney that he committed the horrific crime Easter weekend.
He was not aware completely of the details of the location of the crime. He knew it was somewhere in South Texas.
Because he knew Father Fite had spent time in San Antonio, Tashney called investigators there.
He said that he had something to tell them about a priest who admitted to killing a woman.
Cops asked Tashney to follow up with a written statement. Recounting Fite's alleged confession, he wrote, "After hearing her confession, he assaulted her, bound her, and gagged her." It went on to say, he moved her to another location. After some time, he placed her in a cellophane bag and put her into a bathtub. As he left, he could hear her saying, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe." When he later returned to the residence, the woman was dead. In a recent interview with CNN, Dale Tashney explained why he believed Fite had eluded arrest at the time of the murder.
I asked, "Why are you here and not in prison?" And he said simply, "The church protected me."
Reportedly, Tashney said he was taught as a monk his job was to counsel and obey and do what his superiors said. Now, as a way to strengthen their case, investigators asked Dale Tashney to reach out to John Fite to see what he'd say. The call was recorded.
Hello, John.
Yes.
This is Dale Tashney.
All right, how may I help you, Dale?
I need to somehow clear my conscience of what has happened in the past. The things that we discussed while you were at the monastery are not quite the same, it appears to me, as a newspaper article that I had read more recently of a young girl's tragic demise.
Are you referring to the Irene Garza murder in the Rio Grande Valley?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You told me that you did, in fact, participate in the death of a young woman.
Well, I can only say I am not the man who killed Irene Garza.
Was it somebody else then that you told me about?
I have no recollection, but I may have told you at that time.
But Fite wasn't going to be absolved so simply. Another thunderbolt was about to strike from the heavens. Father Joseph O'Brien, an assistant pastor at Sacred Heart while Fite was there, also reportedly knew what he had allegedly done.
Initially, there was a confrontation, according to Dale, in which Father O'Brien said, "Why are you telling this to police?" And Dale said, "Because I have to." Dale claims that Father O'Brien revealed that he too knew who was behind this crime.
Reportedly, Father O'Brien had talked to investigators at the time of Irene's murder, and again after Tashney came forward. He told investigators Fight had allegedly admitted to killing Irene. It seemed like arresting John Fight was imminent, but then another crushing blow.
The district attorney, who was looking at the evidence, announced kind of publicly that he did not have enough to prosecute.
District Attorney Irene Garza eventually took the case to the grand jury, but it declined to indict John Fight. Years later, the new district attorney, Ricardo Rodriguez, reinvestigated the case, and Irene's family got the news they'd been praying for.
John Fight has been indicted for the alleged murder of Irene Garza. We do have new facts and evidence.
Former father John Fight was arrested in Arizona and charged with Irene Garza's murder.
This whole thing makes no sense to me because the crime in question took place in 1960. I'm totally puzzled by something is coming up now.
It was quite a shock, almost, that it really happened, and that person was now arrested.
6 weeks ago, 83-year-old Fight found himself back in Texas to face a higher power, the judge, at his arraignment.
John Bernard Fight, hereinafter style defendant, on or about the 16th day of April AD 1960, and before the presentment of this indictment in Hidalgo County, Texas, did then and there, with malice aforethought, cause the death of Irene Garza by asphyxiation in a manner and means unknown to the grand jury, against the peace and dignity of the state.
To which the defendant pleads?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
It's been a 56-year wait for the family, and this man, in my eyes, committed some heinous acts and murder. What I would hope would be that he would be convicted of a murder.
Today, John Fight isn't standing at a pulpit, but sitting in a jail cell, awaiting his next court appearance.
In many respects, she was a saint, and she was a saint who many people believed was killed by a priest. And they wanted justice, and the call was always there.
A day of Fight repenting may never come, but a life behind bars would help.
I hope he never goes free. Some people say, well, he's old, and I say, fine. He had a life. Irene didn't. So yes, he's where he needs to be.
And wouldn't it be incredible if justice finally played out more than half a century after the fact? Right now, Fight is being held on $1 million bond. His attorney told the court the former priest is suffering from stage 3 kidney disease and also bladder cancer. His trial not expected to start until later this year.